The modern landscape of media consumption relies on the complacency of the viewer in order to squeeze as much profit as possible from them, at the cost of viewer choice, artist profits, and
Type 2 diabetes? Discover the Ozempic Trizone. Ozempic! I got the power of 3. I lowered my A1C, CV risk, and lost some weight.
In studies, the majority of people reached an A1C under 7 and maintained it.
I'm under 7.
Ozempic lowers the risk of major cardiovascular events such as stroke, heart attack, or death in adults also with known heart disease.
I'm lowering my risk.
Adults lost up to 14 pounds.
I lost some weight.
Ozempic isn't for people with type 1 diabetes. Don't share needles or pens or reuse.
that ad sucked, didn't it? Of course it did. It's an ad. They're everywhere nowadays, and they've become even more invasive in the past few years. You all remember just how many ads we had to sit through in order to get through the video of Kendrick Lamar's halftime show, right? How many of you remember when YouTube ads looked like this? Streaming was initially popularized because it was an alternative to cable, where you could, 1, pick exactly what you wanted to watch and when, and 2, never have to deal with ads. But then people all switched away from cable and made streaming the standard, so they started milking it for more profit. Now streaming services cost even more than they used to, and their cheapest options now also have ads again, and they're still more expensive than the no ad options used to be. Some DVDs and tapes did actually have built-in pre-roll ads, but you could just not watch them. Hell, most remotes usually had a dedicated button to automatically skip them and bring you to the main menu, or at the very least, a fast forward button. One of the main drawbacks of streaming is that you need constant connectivity to the internet in order to consume the content. Over time, this has been mitigated somewhat through more widespread mobile data networks and hotspots. But the only surefire way to have access to the content is to download it. Except now, you have to rely on your phone to store the media while it's downloaded, and God forbid you're low on storage already. Oh, and the service will usually undownload it for you as soon as it can. And at any point, they can choose to just remove the content from the platform entirely so that they don't have to pay their creators, which can sometimes lead to not even being able to pay to see it if that platform was the only one showing it. Let me emphasize that. If only one platform had the TV show or movie that you were wanting, maybe say because it was an original to that platform, they never released it on physical, and they remove it, the only possible way to view it now is through illegal methods like digital piracy. You look at physical by contrast, and you don't have to worry about internet or accessibility or even the battery usually. Most of these portable players are low power enough to last for multiple days on battery power and or can be plugged into a power port on a car for road trips and such. Despite the rising cost of streaming services, it does still cost a non-insignificant amount of money to buy physical. Assuming you're willing to buy secondhand, which most people are, a VCR is usually pretty cheap since most people don't really care about them anymore. Most secondhand media stores sell VHS tapes for about $1 to $3. I have about 70 tapes. So if you pay $20 for the VCR, that's at most $230. That's really not that much for such a large collection, especially when the cheapest non-ad subscription for Netflix right now only needs a year to catch up to that, and only allows sharing with one other person. Physical media, by contrast, can be shared with any amount of people, albeit only one per copy, and that factors into this next point. Physical media, with both its monetary and space cost, required careful selection of the media you wanted to consume. There was no hours of scrolling through Disney Plus trying to decide what to watch. You only had a limited choice of movies you had already purchased, or perhaps a recent release in mind that you could then go out and purchase from a store. And if you weren't in the mood to watch any of it, you just picked a different activity to do. This encouraged an intentional curation of both the media you watched and how you spent your time. So at this point, we've established that physical media is generally a better choice from a consumer standpoint. But what about the artists actually making it all? Well, physical wins there too. Let's take Taylor Swift as an example. Love her or hate her, she was very easy to find data for, so that's who we're going with. In 2025 alone, Swift had 2.5 billion streams from the 12 tracks she released that year. Spotify pays about 0.4 cents per song, so that all totals up to a whopping $10 million. Looking at the numbers for only The Life of a Showgirl, she sold 3.6 million physical copies of the album last year. CDs on their own accounted for just over 54% of that. On her official website, the CD release cost $12.99. That's $25.42 million. Assuming an egregious manufacturing cost of $3 per CD and the poster that comes with it, that's still almost $20 million, double what she made on Spotify, without even factoring other formats like vinyl, which sold almost as many copies and cost more than twice as much as the CDs. The long and short of it all is that physical media has many advantages over digital, especially streaming, for both consumers and the creators of the media. You may not be entirely convinced that physical is better per se, but that's okay. The main goal of this speech was to explain the importance of having it as an option for those who do want it, and especially for media preservation purposes. And in that vein, I hope I was successful. Peace, love.